Welcome to New Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld. Today I have with me Jordan Maxwell, and he is a analyst of symbolic realities, the way people have taken information and also distorted it in order to control people's minds, and have used symbols which affect our subconscious and manipulate consciousness. Really, I think you really...
That's the object of symbols, is to manipulate consciousness. Yeah, that's why you have symbols, because symbols tell you something, and they speak to you. Classic examples: you drive to downtown Los Angeles and you see graffiti on the walls.
Right.
Most people, most adults, think it's just childish, destroying property. But no, those symbols mean something. And if you understand the culture that developed those symbols, they're telling you something.
Well, it's not so much to manipulate, it's more to express. The basic...
Well, but they're also manipulating you, because now you've read it, now you understand what it's saying, now you abide by what it's saying, so it's manipulating you.
Or reacting to what
or reacting
and
to
that's
it,
still a
of course.
manipulation.
Yeah.
So is there any way to avoid...
Not in this world.
So one of the ways is to be aware of it.
Yeah, to be at least to be aware that propaganda comes in all forms, verbal, motion pictures, television, newspapers, magazines. But propaganda does not deceive you. It helps you to deceive yourself. So you need to educate yourself as to how symbols are used, who's doing this, and it's not necessarily bad in all cases, of course. I mean,
Right.
You advertise products, you advertise the reason why that product is better than the other. It's a propaganda, but at least it's explaining something to you. The point I want to make is that you need to understand that there are very powerful organizations in this world that have lots of money and they have an agenda. And so they will put their propaganda, they pay large sums of money to professional people that know how to manipulate you.
Right.
And they know what you want to hear.
Well, tell us what those specific symbols are. Like, what would you...
Well, I mean, a classic one is like the Nazis used the swastika. The swastika was used by the Hindus before, and the Buddhists, and many other religions. But now, today, when you see the swastika, it tells you something instantly. And symbols are very important, and words and terms. Words are really important.
Because words are symbols of sound.
Of course. Words actually are very, very important stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
You'd be surprised how much trouble you can get into in a court by using the wrong words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just getting back to symbols, just to clarify something, symbols in the true religious sense were there to initiate people to higher levels of consciousness.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
And if you understand that, which most people don't, they take it just as literal and misinterpret, because you don't have the background or the knowledge to understand what the symbols is there for. So then you begin to take that symbol as the actual truth. I mean, the classic example, of course, is the story of Jesus. I mean, once you understand that Jesus is a metaphor, the whole concept of the New Testament is a metaphor. That's why the Bible is referred to as the greatest story ever told. It's a story.
Right.
It's not the greatest collection of facts on the earth, it's a story.
Right.
But once you understand there's a metaphor, there's an encoded story, then it begins to make sense, and now it begins to make a lot of spiritual sense. But it's a classic example of people misunderstanding symbols.
So they take the symbols, and the people in control that want to control consciousness...
They keep reinforcing the misunderstanding. They keep reinforcing it by their continual television shows and harping on certain understandings. So, like Hitler said, you just keep telling a big lie, and eventually everybody's going to believe it. And so that's what's happened in Christianity, is that so much has been misrepresented from the original 2,000 years ago to that today we've got a whole world of religion that's based on ignorance, ill-informed. It's just an incredible misunderstanding of the concept of Christianity.
So how do we break that down and free people to...
Education, very simple.
The stuff you're saying?
Well, and it's not like I'm coming up with something vastly different that no one's ever heard. No, it's in a library. Go to the library and pick up a book on the origins of Christianity, the origins of religion, the origins of America. It's all there. I mean, wisdom and knowledge is everywhere if you just want to take the time to look.
No, it's a level of conditioning that people,
Yeah.
when, you know, some old cardinal said, give someone information at, you know, as a child, and they'll believe it the rest of their life.
That's what the Jesuits said.
Yes.
Give me a child to 7, and he'll be mine forever.
That's right.
That's true.
It's encoded in the neural nets of the brain.
That's right.
And we have to somehow get in there and wake people up. That's the problem with fundamentalism.
That's the problem with religion, government. It's everywhere. All institutions are infected with this problem. I mean, even education, universities and colleges, they have a code of knowledge, and you cannot step outside of that box. And you know, your mind is like a parachute. Doesn't work if it's not open.
Right.
Once you begin to open your mind and start studying and reading and getting the background on symbols and terms and words, you begin to understand that we've been manipulated from birth. We need to back up and go all the way back to day 1 and start re-educating yourself the way the world really works.